A comparison of the three most anticipated 3D printers of late, the Flashforge Creator 5 Pro and the Snapmaker U1. I haven't remained indifferent to your expectations. Let's begin. You don't often see comparison videos on my channel because I believe it is more accurate to evaluate every 3D printer on its own merits. However, the situation here was a bit different. Currently, the two most popular printers on the market with 4 print heads are the U1 and the 5 Pro. Even though some of their features differ, at the end of the day, they are two printers that are direct competitors to each other. I was receiving serious requests and questions from you on this subject. Since I had both printers on hand, I said to myself, let me prepare a video that serves as an answer to these questions. But right at the beginning of the video, I'm passing the ball back to you. Which of the prints you see on the screen right now was made with the U1 and which with the Creator 5 Pro? Pause the video first and write down your guesses. Let's see how accurate the answers will be. We'll talk about it in the comments once the tests are finished. What will you find in this video? Multicolor printing tests. The print times and waste amounts for these prints. I will share with you the quality assessment of all the prints made, single color PLA tests, tests of the most commonly used engineering filaments like ABS and ASA, as well as the most challenging filament, PA, along with hardware and software differences, the advantages and disadvantages of these differences, noise tests, power consumption, cost comparisons, and my general opinions. I will score all of these one by one and try to find answers to the question marks in your mind. While performing all these tests, I used the same filaments and made the prints with exactly the same settings. I equalized the conditions. First, I wiped the rods nicely, cleaned them, and lubricated them again. I performed the leveling and vibration calibrations one by one and excitedly started the first test. The point where both of these printers are most ambitious is multicolor printing. There was a test I had previously done in the review videos of the printers. I added one more to this, a Deadpool bust. It's a very popular model. I had also printed it many times before. I colored the model myself and set it up to have 4 color changes. It's 1 o'clock at night. Of course, I started a bit late, but I can't really sleep out of curiosity. Let's take a look. Both of these prints are continuing to progress quite well so far. If I were to take a closer look to check which one is actually ahead at this stage, it is quite interesting. This one hasn't reached the next point yet. There is a black dot there on the Creator 5. This one has reached the next point. How much of a difference is there? I'm not 100% sure, but the Snapmaker seems to be a bit further ahead. How many hours has it been? It's been 6 hours since the printing started. Let's see how much of a difference there will be between them at the end of the print, both in terms of time and print quality. Yes, it's morning now. The prints are continuing. Both devices have been printing for exactly 15 hours and 54 minutes. If I look at the bags like this and align them, this was the head with the gray color. When I look closely, I don't see any problem with the gray color. Maybe it was a momentary issue. It didn't stop the print either. It's continuing right now. We'll see it more clearly when it's finished. Let's look at the Creator 5 Pro side. Our biggest problem here is that the prime tower has already toppled over. This has caused various waste issues. It can't clean the tip of the nozzle very properly here. It might have also caused issues at the back of the model. Such waste might have stuck a bit to the back of the model, or it might not have. We will see together when it's finished. Let's also see which one is further ahead. If I look at the bags like this and align them here, it has finished the bags on the right and left. Here, it is still continuing. U1 is currently ahead compared to the Creator 5 Pro. Let's see. We will all see together how much of a difference there is when it's finished. It was an exciting process for me. The prints lasted over 20 hours, but rest assured, if it were possible, I would have slept next to the printers and probably even gotten up at night to check on them. So how are the results? Let's look at the print times first. The U1 completed the print in 20 hours and 36 minutes. The print time for the Creator 5 Pro was 22 hours and 21 minutes. There is a difference of a little less than 2 hours. Yes, the U1 has finished the print, Let's check the time. 20:36. The 5 Pro is still going. Do I have a guess as to when it will finish? It says about an hour and a half, 1 hour and 36 minutes. Let's see, we'll see if there will be that much of a difference. Of course, that mess in the back has increased quite a bit. It built itself a prime tower here. There's no problem with the print, but as I said, I'm not touching it either. Let's see what kind of result we'll get. If a problem does arise, I'll share with you what kind of problem it was. The other one had finished at 20:36. Let's see when the Creator 5 Pro will finish. And we've come to the final part of the job. We had already seen the Snapmaker. The Creator 5 Pro's print finished in exactly 22 hours and 21 minutes. However, it's very interesting that after this tower collapsed, it built itself a new tower, and in the end, it fixed the tower again. Now let's take a look at the results together. Even if you use the same filament and the same settings, such time differences can occur between different brands and models. This is perfectly natural. So much so that even the weights of the models are different. While the 5 Pro created the same model with 320 grams, the U1 consumed 313 grams of filament. There was no waste during the color change. Let's look at the amount spent for the prime tower. The U1 spent 142 grams of filament to create this tower, while the 5 Pro spent 119 grams. There isn't such a significant difference between the two printers. So for a print exceeding 20 hours, a print time difference of less than 2 hours is, in my opinion, quite reasonable. The difference in material consumption is also small enough to be ignored. So which printer produced better quality prints here? First of all, let me say this. You will see a color change at one point on the C5 Pro. That is my mistake. I didn't notice the issue that occurred while painting. I checked this later. Don't get hung up on those gray lines. The biggest difference in the print was regarding the glossiness. It looks as if two different filaments were used. What could affect this? For one, speed, but there wasn't a significant speed difference between them. As I said, there was a difference of less than 2 hours. The temperature is the same. Normally, filaments that are hotter can come out this glossy. There is only one option left here. While the Creator 5 Pro is printing with one head, it keeps the filaments in the other head hot for a longer time. This also affects the change in glossy, or the sensor reading might be incorrect. I'm not saying this for the Creator 5 Pro specifically. Maybe it's on the U1, maybe on the Creator 5 Pro, or it could be a situation specific to my printer. Because the measurement was incorrect, one might have come out more matte and the other more glossy. There aren't any huge differences in quality. However, you must have noticed it from the visuals as well. The vibration effects are more pronounced on the 5 Pro. I will show you all of these up close anyway. As you can see in this print, the prime tower toppled over. This did not negatively affect the print, meaning there was no negative impact on its quality. Or the fallen pieces didn't get stuck anywhere in the printer, it didn't cause a problem. But this doesn't mean it won't cause a problem. This could have happened on the U1 as well, which actually happened to me once. We can encounter this problem from time to time on different printers as well. I'm deducting 1 point for the prime tower, half a point for vibration effects, and half a point for print time. My score for the C5 Pro is 8, whereas I didn't encounter any issues with the U1. My score is 10. These are also the prints I made during the review of the two printers. I used Creality Hyper PLA while reviewing the U1. On the C5 Pro there are combinations like Creality Hyper, Beta and Bamboo. So the filaments here are actually different, but the print settings were still the same. In the range of 200 to 300 millimeters per second, I don't see any significant difference in print quality. Both prints turned out quite well. If I really had to point out a difference, I could say that the vibration effects are slightly more noticeable on the C5 Pro. And this is at a very minimal level, and since I didn't print with the same filament at the same time, I won't deduct any points for this. The amount spent on the prime tower was 104 grams for the U1 and 96 grams for the 5 Pro. The model weights are also almost the same. The U1 is 258 grams and the 5 Pro is 256 grams. Again, there is no difference between the two printers. The print time was 15 hours for the U1 and 16 hours and 10 minutes for the Creator 5 Pro. I didn't experience any issues with this print. The process was quite enjoyable. The prints were quite nice. I would give both of them 10 points, but the 1 hour shorter print time is a slight advantage. Therefore, if I don't deduct half a point, I would be doing the U1 a disservice. The U1 gets 10 points and the Pro gets 9.5. The scoring system will always start from 10, and if there are any issues, points will be deducted gradually depending on the severity of the problem. So let's not think that just because it got 10 points, it's the best print ever. Right now, we are just making an evaluation within its own context. I sometimes see it in the comments. People say, you called this good, but I can get much better prints than what you're showing. Like, if you gave this 10 points, I'm getting 100-point prints. I'm just joking around. I hope you always get 100-point prints. I would be happy about that. The other color print test was generally to give ideas to those who produce small parts in series or those who produce small gift items or keychains. These are star-shaped keychains. I was able to place 41 pieces on the build plate of both printers. Neither the C5 Pro nor the U1 caused any problems during printing. The leveling must have worked quite well, as all the pieces adhered to the plate perfectly, and 82 keychains were produced without any issues. There is no waste. Only a tiny tower was printed anyway. When we look at the print time, things have changed this time. While the U1 printed 41 keychains in 10 hours and 34 minutes, the 5 Pro completed the same print in 9 hours and 28 minutes. Therefore, the U1 received 9.5 points, while the 5 Pro received 10 points. A competitive race just as we expected. I mean, at least it's continuing as I expected. As you can see, when the scenarios change, one printer can remain slower or faster. In the 20-hour print, the C5 Pro had remained slower. In another 10-hour print, however, we saw the U1 was slower. I always say, these are the results we obtained based on this specific print scenario. Therefore, we cannot reach a definitive conclusion with just a few prints. But these are important pieces of information, important tests. They also give us an idea. I fit the same number of parts. Still, if I pushed it, the Snapmaker would have taken more. I found it easier to arrange the layout on the U1. After all, there is a print size difference, even if it's small. One is 256, the other is 270 millimeters. To see how much of a difference this makes, I did 2 more prints at maximum height. Both are VAS models consisting of a single wall using spiral mode. Their surfaces are very nice, there are no problems whatsoever. And the actual difference in print size is just what you see here. We can say there is about a finger's width of difference. Of course, this applies not only to the Z-axis, but also to the X and Y-axis. I also have some prints that I made in a single color. I would like to share those with you as well. This is a laptop stand with an interesting design, as you can see. Overall, the surface quality of both is quite successful. Just like with all the other prints, I can see a bit more vibration effect on the surface of the C5 Pro. I wouldn't call it a major problem, but there is definitely a difference. You will notice a visible line in the middle of one of the models. This line is entirely related to a power outage. I had started the print at the same time. The power outage occurred when they were at almost the same height. Both printers had the power loss resume feature as well. While there was no mark on the U1, this line we see on the C5 Pro appeared. I hadn't planned on doing a power outage test. However, after experiencing this and seeing a slight difference between them, I decided to turn it into a test and printed the Batman model you see. The printers were connected to a smart plug. I turned off the plug 10 times at different layers as if there had been a power outage. Immediately afterward, I restored the power and asked them to resume printing from where they left off. The U1 did a really great job with this. Yes, I can see the marks. If possible, I will try to show them to you up close if I can display them in the photos. However, I honestly wasn't expecting such a result after a power outage. It's an extremely successful result. When we look at the Creator 5 side, marks formed in 5 out of the 10 power outages, while the others aren't very noticeable. However, as you can see, 2 of these are quite deep lines. In fact, because it couldn't feed the filament enough, the model separated at one of these deep lines while I was removing the supports. Yes, I also want to show you how I performed this power outage test. The same model is being printed. As you can see while you are watching the video, I will also be showing you this model. Now I'm going to cut the power from the smart plug. Of course, I can't do this while filming the video. I'll be right back. Yes, I have now cut the power from the smart plug and brought it back. The device is turned off. They are turning back on. As you can see, the prints have stopped. I must have done this so far. I mean, it's a tiny model. It's a 1 to 1.5 hour model. I must have done it 7 or 8 times. It will probably go over 10 by the time it's finished, and I will show you the lines on it. Honestly, I haven't encountered any serious problems so far. Yes, it says, should it continue? It says, The Snapmaker one has arrived. The Flashforge one is about to arrive as well. Flashforge opens a little bit later, but I mean, it's not a serious problem. Should the print be resumed? It says. After saying OK to these, I confirm the Snapmaker. An update has arrived. Let's say no to this for now. Should the print be resumed? As the system indicates, you can clearly observe that the machine is now carefully recalibrating the precise position of the print head once again. Both of these devices will then seamlessly continue this specific print job exactly from the point where they previously left off, ensuring a perfect finish. Now you have seen how the test is performed. I can share the results with you. In the power outage test, the U1 produced a much better result compared to the Creator 5 Pro. We are continuing with another print I made using PLA. It's a quite nice model. It can be used decoratively. The differences between the two prints are quite minimal. Overall, the surface qualities are successful. Even though it's the same filament and the same settings, the print from the U1 is slightly more matte. The one printed with the Creator 5 Pro came out a bit shinier. Also, in the print I made with the Creator 5 Pro, the vibration effects are slightly more noticeable compared to the U1. Moving on to another test model. Here, tests like angle, tolerance, and bridging are all on the same model. The angle test gives us an idea about how successful the printer's cooling unit is. The Creator 5 Pro has a very powerful cooling fan. Here, the print with much more sagging was made with the U1, while the one with less sagging was made with the Creator 5 Pro. A similar situation applies to the bridge tests. While there is more sagging in the U1's test, the bridges came out much smoother on the Creator 5 Pro. There are various tolerance ranges here, but I couldn't measure them clearly with the caliper I have. However, I took the measurement of the large cube, and both of them produced the measurement clearly as 3 centimeters, just as they should. I think the cooling fan is what makes the difference here. Why? The Creator 5 Pro takes cool air from the outside and blows it inside. Therefore, the sagging was minimal because of this. In the U1, however, because there is air circulation inside, it blows slightly warmer air, and that's why the sagging increases. Of course, what these printers can do is not limited to just color printing or PLA. Work can also be done with various engineering filaments. I have made prints with ABS, ASA, and PA filaments. Of course, to be able to work with filaments like ABS, ASA, or PA, the printer needs to be fully enclosed. Yes, you can do some small trials with open frame printers, at least with ABS or ASA. I do this from time to time in my videos as well. However, the ideal scenario is for the printer to be completely enclosed. The U1 is a printer that we could call semi-open, semi-enclosed. It was necessary to cover the top of it. I had performed this process during the review video of the U1. I made a frame for the top part out of PETG material and then placed a storage container I bought from IKEA on top of this frame. This way, the printer became fully enclosed and has now become more ideal for using engineering filaments. You are currently seeing the prints I made with ABS. This is a car part. It is designed to be used on the exterior body of a car. It can be used for parts like this, but the one that is truly ideal for outdoor use is ASA, which we will take a look at those prints in a moment. ABS does not like airflow at all. It can warp at the edges and corners immediately and detach from the print bed. If the internal cabin temperature is a bit high, around 50 to 60 degrees, the adhesion between layers also occurs quite well. This also increases the strength of the material. I did not encounter any problems with either print. Both the surface quality and the nozzle marks on the top surface are quite minimal. You are looking at the version of the same part printed with ASA filament. I am satisfied with the surface quality on both printers as well. I can say that I barely encountered any problems. You will notice that the nozzle marks are quite prominent on one corner of the print I got with the U1. It likely lifted slightly from there during the printing process. This mark formed as the layers stacked on top of each other. It doesn't affect general use. Other than that, there are no issues with the rest of it. Both prints are quite good. Now we've come to one of the most challenging filaments for me. That is PA, or nylon filament. I don't like printing with it at all because it's very difficult. It can lift off the print bed very easily. Therefore, the probability of the print failing becomes very high. Even if the nozzle temperature and bed temperature are sufficient, sometimes these alone are not enough. It might require chamber heating. It might require adhesive. It is affected by moisture very quickly. That's why you need to dry it first. Only then can you proceed to printing. Anyway, I have dried my filament. Since I didn't have two of the same filament, I printed with the Creator 5 Pro first and then with the U1 using the same settings. I mentioned that I did my first attempts with the Creator 5 Pro. I tried to find an ideal setting, meaning I tried it with the chamber heating on and off. I set a low bed temperature. I did tests with higher bed temperatures. During that time, I encountered a few printing issues like this, meaning the model detached from the bed. But this isn't a printing issue, because as I said, the material is difficult and you need to run tests to find the ideal setting. I applied adhesive to the bed. There are various adhesives available on the market for 3D printers. I recommend that you use these adhesives as well, especially if you are going to work with materials like ABS, ASA, or PA. After finding my settings, I completed the print. On the Creator 5 side, I used a bed temperature of 110 degrees and an internal chamber heating of 65 degrees. In this way, I achieved a very good result. As for the U1, the bed can already reach up to 100 degrees. It also does not have active internal chamber heating. However, because I covered the top, the internal chamber temperature surprisingly rose up to 60 degrees. In my previous tests, I had seen that the inside of the chamber could only heat up to a maximum of 50 degrees. But I think because I am doing this test in the summer, the inside of the chamber reached 60 degrees. This turned out to be an advantage for me, and I was able to get a PA print with the U1 as well. Still, there were differences in surface quality, because there was some minor lifting on the U1, just like it happened on a small edge of the ASA. Here, there is some roughness on a wider surface. On the Creator 5 Pro side, no such lifting occurred. That's why the top surfaces are much smoother. It seems like the U1 was a bit on the edge in this test I did. It's like it's saying, yes, I can print PA, but I might struggle a little bit. The Creator 5 Pro side, on the other hand, was a bit more comfortable. So what else do these features tell us? Now, here we have a print bed that heats up to 120 degrees, and the nozzle is 330 degrees. On this side, the bed is 100 degrees, and the nozzle heats up to 300 degrees. So I think this is the most obvious point where they differ from each other. Of course, there is also chamber heating here, which can go up to 65 degrees. It can reach. For example, carbon fiber reinforced PPS requires a nozzle temperature above 300 degrees, and generally a bed temperature in the 100 to 120 degree range. Besides that, a chamber heating of at least around 65 degrees would also be good. In fact, even above 65 degrees would be even better for PPS. If I had carbon fiber reinforced PPS, I wouldn't try it with the U1. Instead, I would prefer the Creator 5 Pro. There is also another reason why you wouldn't be able to get a print, which is that a stainless steel nozzle is used on the U1 side. On this side, there is a hardened steel nozzle. You cannot use any carbon fiber reinforced filament without a hardened steel nozzle. Stainless steel will wear out in a very short time. If you want to print carbon fiber reinforced filaments on the U1, you must replace them with a nozzle that has a hardened steel nozzle tip. PPS without carbon fiber reinforcement can be tried on the U1. It requires a bed temperature of 100 to 110 degrees. The nozzle is also usually around 300 degrees. I mean, it's right on the limit, not ideal, but it can be tried. Again, I can say that the U1 remains at the limit for PPA or some PA types as well. Formulas and temperature ranges naturally vary, so this varies depending on different brands and models of filaments. The information I provided is general. I would definitely not underestimate the U1 when it comes to engineering filaments. However, the Creator 5 Pro is capable of more in this regard and has a wider range in the engineering field. Both printers can have a wide range of applications. This includes hobbyist, commercial, or engineering fields. Especially for those who will choose these printers for commercial purposes, electricity consumption can also be important. I conducted a simple test. I set up the model so that there would be 4 color changes in every layer. The print settings are exactly the same as always, and I calculated the electricity consumption while running all the fans at 100%. While the U1's electricity consumption was 0.16 kilowatt-hours, I obtained a result of 0.26 kilowatt-hours for the C5 Pro. What does this mean? The information I am about to give will lose its relevance over time, but let's do a rough calculation. For example, in a 24-hour continuous print under these conditions, the U1 consumes $0.75 of electricity, while the Creator 5 Pro consumes approximately $1.25, and this result emerged even though the U1 has a larger bed that needs to be heated. The noise aspect of things can also be very important for home, office, or hobbyist users. It can be said that the noise levels are almost the same. You wouldn't want to put it next to your desk and try to work on something else right beside it. It would be annoying for a long time. However, if it's in a separate room or a different place, it won't be a problem. I don't want to move on without mentioning this. The Creator 5 Pro is a quite quiet printer during head changes. The U1 is not like that. So for colorful and long-lasting prints, the Creator 5 Pro has such an advantage. While filament change happens automatically on the U1, it is done manually on the 5 Pro. However, since we perform a manual cut when removing the filament on the Creator 5, a clean filament tip comes out. On the U1 side, you encounter a somewhat elongated filament tip. When I first saw this, I wondered if it would be a problem. I mean, could it leave a residue inside the hot end and cause a clog? But I haven't encountered such an issue. I just cut the tip after removing the filament. There will definitely be users who care about print volume. The 5 Pro's area is a bit smaller, but it will be sufficient for many projects. There are dozens of 3D printers on the market that use this print area. At this point, the U1 is ahead, even if by a small margin, with its 270 by 270 mm print area. Both printers are currently good when it comes to remote connection. When Snapmaker first came out, it had some minor issues, but they fixed them with updates. As for the C5 Pro, there were 1 or 2 rare disconnections, but it was generally good. When it comes to camera tracking and time-lapse video, Snapmaker is far superior. I don't like the camera resolution of the 5 Pro. Also, the U1's camera has artificial intelligence. For example, while printing the Deadpool bust, the Prime Tower had toppled over. If the same thing had happened on the U1, it would have paused the print and warned me. A notification would have come to the app on my mobile phone, tablet, or computer. What would I have done? I would have opened the camera to check it first, or I would have gone to the printer. After making this check, I would have decided whether the print should continue or not. There is also the software side of things. The U1 uses Clipper, that's why the user community can act a bit more freely at this point. In other words, things that are not liked in the software can be changed, or new things can be developed and integrated into the printer. We can't say it's a completely open source printer, but the scope for intervention is quite wide. The Creator 5 Pro, on the other hand, does not use an open system. Although, when looking at community efforts in unofficial channels, it is said to be built on a Clipper base. However, the company has no official statement regarding this. At the end of the day, even if Clipper software is being used, Flashforge does not currently offer this as open source. Therefore, we can say that it is a printer close to community developments on the software side. Price is, of course, a very important criterion for all of us. The price difference between the Creator 5 Pro and the U1 is very small. The difference between Flashforge's open-frame Creator 5 model and the U1, on the other hand, is significant. I would also like to share my scores with you based on some criteria I have determined. I have tallied my scores from the color printing tests. Here the U1 scored 29.5, while the 5 Pro scored 27.5. Looking at the overall print quality, I give the U1 10 points. The 5 Pro, on the other hand, gets 8.5 points due to some minor vibration effects. As for the print area, my 10 points go to the U1 again. The 5 Pro gets 9.5. The U1 was quite good in the power outage test. My score is 10 and 7 for the Creator 5 Pro. In the overhang and bridging test, the Creator 5 demonstrated the difference in cooling. Therefore, my score is 10 and 8 for the U1. A similar situation applied to the use of engineering filaments. Although there were no major differences, the U1 gets 8 points due to some minor printing errors, while the Creator 5 gets 10 points. When we look at the software and the comfort and ease provided by these software, I see the U1 as being a bit ahead. My score is 9 and 8 for the Creator 5 Pro. In terms of ease of use, I give them both 8 points. Both printers achieved very good results with large prints or prints spread across the build plate. Leveling works properly on both of them. My score is 10. There were also no problems with the print head change sensitivity. Multi-head calibration was also good on both printers. My score is 10. Neither of them are very quiet printers. They can't be called very noisy either. However, due to the difference during head changes, the 5 Pro is 1 point ahead. My score is 8 and 7 for the U1. I think Snapmaker is still a bit ahead when it comes to remote connection. Also, since it has a camera with AI support, my score is 10 for the U1 and 8 for the Creator 5 Pro. When we look at the total score, the U1 received 129.5 points from me. The Creator 5 Pro got 124.5 points. I can say that I achieved the result I expected. The scores turned out to be quite close to each other. They had different advantages and disadvantages compared to one another. We saw all of these together. You can evaluate the score like this. In my opinion, if any printer had received a score lower than 6, we could have called that feature bad. Honestly, I didn't feel the need to give such a score. Looking at it, we can see that both printers are at a recommendable level. If it were me, if I were thinking about a hobby or a business focused on color printing, and if I were going to work with PLA, PTG, or TPU, I would lean more towards the U1 side. However, if the work leans more towards the engineering side, the Creator 5 Pro could be a logical choice. I haven't used the Creator 5, but if its performance is like the Creator 5 Pro, the Creator 5 could also be considered as an alternative to the U1. Yes, we have come to the end of the Flashforge Creator 5 Pro and Snapmaker U1 comparison. Of course, there are many more things. I am sure there are details that didn't come to my mind. If you have any questions, please write them down. If I know the answer, I would be happy to answer them. I am also looking forward to your other comments about the video and this comparison. Let's see if your predictions at the beginning of the video were correct. May your printer be trouble-free and your prints flawless. See you in the next video. Goodbye.
We keep on moving. We keep on moving along. We keep on rolling. No, we ain't slowing it down. We ain't slowing down. Moving. We keep on moving along. We keep on rolling. Yeah. No, we ain't slowing it down. Let's go. We ain't slowing down, baby. Come and show me how. Gotta do it right now. You know you gotta hold me down. Can I let the moment pass? Good things they never last. Pull up in a whip, you know I had to hit the gas. Yeah, that's premium. Pull up with a team and ain't worried about the other side. They know that they ain't beating them on everything I love. Work to the man above. Keep it cool, calm, collected. At this point, you get the message. Life is hectic, but we gotta keep it rolling, though. Gotta keep it grooving, keep it moving like we stole it, though. Rolling with the punches, giving hits like we are Interscope. Even though I'm clocking, punching in, I'm independent, though. Staying prayed up, ain't nothing gon' phase us. Ain't never gon' let a lame say what they just made up. I never take a pay cut, we getting what we worth in. I never change the blueprint, cause we know it's really working. We keep on moving, we keep on moving.